Scene on BBC Radio London with Aurie Styla.
This is The Scene.
Who does not love her voice? Beyonce, hold up. This is Aurie Styla, BBC Radio London. The Scene every Monday for me, 8 till 10. But I'm not the only person that does The Scene. On Tuesdays, it's Clara Hermit. On Wednesdays, it's Judy Love. Thursdays, Jasmine Dottiwala. On Fridays, the dynamic duo, Salma El-Wadani and Lionheart, who I actually put up not a challenge. They didn't even challenge me, but it was like a response to a video that they put up on social media. We're all family, we all love each other. But they tried to do a video where they were playing piano and I weren't invited. So listen, go to @BBC Radio London on Instagram and you'll see who really plays the piano the best. That would be me before you have to figure out who it could be. I'm just going to tell you it's me. But watch it and see for yourself. Love to them, love Salma, love Lion. In the building with me is Misha. Misha, you still here?
I'm here.
Hey. And also with me is someone else who's jumped in just to check your mic is working. Are you here, sir?
I'm here.
Nice. I'm going to introduce you. This is the guy who is, it says your age here. I'm not going to say. You're 21 plus.
You can say my age, you know. You can say my age. I don't feel no shame about it.
49-year-old illustrator. All right, we'll tell the truth. 34-year-old illustrator and character designer. He also runs a workshop, including working with some secondary schools on the importance of representation and character design in popular media. 2 books he was involved in, which are available on Amazon, are Look Up and The Last Day of Summer. Born in Britain with a Nigerian heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest in the building on The Scene is Dapo. What's going on, Dapo? You good?
Everything's good, you know. What an intro, bruv.
None of mercy.
Ooh, what an intro, bro.
There you go. He put some energy in that intro.
He even took 2 years off my age, you know.
I love it. Oh, you're not 34?
I'm 36.
You're 36?
Well, this year, actually.
Oh, happy... When?
In April.
Oh, you don't get no birthday until April, man. That's spring. We just touch winter. There's
we
no
don't
way
count
you're
the
getting
last 2 months, though, man.
Nah, we don't. Nah, it's not happening. So how are you, sir? You all good?
I'm cool, man. I'm all right still.
So
right.
I mean, I've said illustrator and character designer, but what does that mean?
All right, just to kind of sum it up, character designer is somebody that designs characters that you see in television and advertising and general animation and even movies.
Okay.
Like, so for example, character designers work on the look of the characters that you see in Black Panther, all those Marvel films, all the animated films, McDonald's. Do you know what I mean? Like mascots.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Logos,
the hamburger and all that.
There's almost no limit to what you would see a character designer behind.
Okay.
And then what I do, I design characters for animation and children's picture books.
Nice.
Yeah. So
how long have you been doing this for?
Oh Lord, been drawing for a hot minute. Been doing the character design thing for close to like 9 years now. Yeah, for a minute. But like because it's self-taught, it's a lot slower. So I had to learn everything off my own back basically. So where you would go to school and it's 3 years, boom, 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 like it's taken a minute to get to a certain place.
Do you feel, I mean, I'm sure you know other character designers as well. Do you feel that those who maybe went through education that way against you who had to be self-taught, did it have an advantage or is it different? Are you level? I mean,
right,
sure, is there a different, I mean, it's a different journey, but
I feel they definitely had an advantage in that they had, you know, the establishments to go to and they learned, guidelines.
Okay.
Right. They had guidelines. They had structure. That's what I'm going to say. So where you're sort of self-learning, you have to come up with your own structure. You have to find ways that work for you in it.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say it's a bad thing. It takes a little longer to master certain things, but you have a more unique voice because of it. It's easier for you to have a unique voice because you had to ad hoc everything to make it work. Do you know what I mean? So it's easier for you to have a unique voice. So what tends to happen in most of the establishments that I follow on Instagram, or the people that come out of these establishments in the States and even here, they tend to have a very similar voice. That's the voice of whatever's trending, whatever style is trending at the time. Whereas being self-taught, you can take from here and take from there and then just slap it all together and do your own thing.
Okay. And I guess it kind of leads into my next point as well. Yeah, I mean, you run workshops in schools about the importance of representation and character design in popular media, right? With what you may have been taught education-wise against what you know is probably more important to you to teach others about representation, there's probably a gap between the two that you would have to bridge for yourself.
Right. So to kind of answer that, how it all came about was a bit random, innit? So I never started out wanting to do the whole thing about the lack of diversity. So if I'm going to be honest with you, completely honest, I didn't even notice the lack of diversity or how things were structured in cartoons, for example, until much later. It's one of those things where someone points it out to you and you see it and it's all you can see going forward. So for example,
I know what you mean, yeah.
Like you don't like Recess, for example, cartoon from way back in the day, Disney cartoon,
yeah, and
all these other cartoons that used to come out. Hey Arnold, you never used to realize how when the black kid is in the cartoon, what does he do mostly? sports, innit?
Sports, basketball.
Do you understand what I'm
yeah.
saying? So you never realize those things. So basically, I used to go into schools and just talk about what I do. Right, shout out to Julia from Chobham Academy. Got to give the shout outs. I used to go to schools and just talk to the kids about what I do, and while I was doing this, I had a conversation outside of this with somebody, and they pointed this out to me. And then I did a little bit of looking at all the popular cartoons that I used to grow up on, and it was always the same. The black kids always had generic roles if they were in the cartoon at all, apart from Filbert. Got to shout Filbert out because he was the lead cartoon character, little nerdy guy with the glasses.
Yeah, I remember that.
Apart from him. Right, all the black kids that you get in cartoons, they used to fall into one generic kind of typecast thing in it. So, I started doing the picture books I was working on, and one of the picture books, which I'll talk about a little later, was a lead character in the picture book was a little black girl, and at the time, to me, that was normal. Do you know what I mean? Being of my heritage, it was normal. But the reaction that the publishing industry had when we introduced this character, when we was pitching and we were looking for a home for it, was insane. And then it kind of made me look a little bit more into it. And I realized that this character, there aren't that many that are like this, innit? So then I had to tailor the workshops I was doing in schools as well, because now I know this thing and I'm like, you know what, it's important that these kids coming up know why it's important to see themselves on screen. Do you know what I mean? So that's where the whole character design with a view to talking about representation and diversity in comics and popular media, that's where it all came from, innit?
Wow.
Does that answer your question?
No, it does. It does. I'm sitting here thinking about cartoons I used to watch when I was younger, and you're right. I can't think of many where I would look at a character and not see them in a role which is fairly typecast. I mean, the two you mentioned, Recess and Hey Arnold, always in a basketball jersey,
basically the same kid.
With a high top.
with a high top.
Basically the same kid, right?
Basically the same kid.
That's wow. What other cartoons were there with actual people? Because some of the ones I'm thinking didn't have humans in there, like Rocko's Modern Life and Ren.
So now that's a crazy thing as well, because during all the research, just looking at everything, it became apparent that like you were more than likely going to get before you got a black lead, you were going to get an animal or an inanimate talking object as a lead.
Yeah, wow.
Before you get a black lead. So that's another thing. There's so many. There's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff to cover in this, but I'll let you carry on first.
Well, I mean, this is a question I think I can answer, but I want you to. How important is representation in these mediums?
All right, so stupidly important, basically. I'm pretty sure you know the answer already. Like, it's stupidly important. It's so important for kids growing up to be able to see themselves. So just to give myself as an example, right? Coming up, I did all the generic sort of things that somebody who is into art would do in terms of courses at school. I did art GCSE, then I went on to A-level art, A-level graphic design, and then degree level graphic design. And I just followed this path because it was just the thing to do. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know about the things that were available to me. I didn't know illustration was a path I could have taken, for example, right? So, and I didn't know this partially because I never saw anybody that looked like me that did this thing.
Do it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you grow up as a kid and you don't see people that look like you doing things, you might start believing that
It's not for you.
You might start believing there's no place for you there.
That's in the news as well today. On BBC London, they showed it was a quick clip of a young girl, 4 years old. She wanted to be a firefighter, but she believed she couldn't be because she's a girl and she thought firefighters were all men. So she put that out there, and then it went viral, and everyone was saying, well, you can be. And there was women out there going, no, I'm a firefighter and I'm a woman, to encourage this young girl. And I guess you're right. If you don't see people in those roles, you're going to believe that role isn't for you.
Yeah.
So that's very, when you really sit and think about it, it's actually a very powerful thing.
But it's such a small thing that people don't
subtle,
realize.
yeah.
They don't realize, and this is where it's a mad head trip, innit? Because it's such a small thing. You don't really think about it. But as an adult, when you realize it, you're like, rah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these job roles, all these things that people, in this day and age that we live in, you can get paid for doing anything, more or less. Like, there's so many different jobs out there in this world. But when you think about them and the amount of representation that we as black people have in various popular job roles, it's next to non-existent in some cases. It's crazy. It's actually bananas.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, 81333, text us in. Make sure you start the text with the word London. Also tweet at BBC Radio London if you have any questions for Misha and Dapo. I've got one before anyone else starts asking questions. Look Up and The Last Day of Summer. Talk to me about those books.
So, right, Look Up is my debut picture book as an illustrator. That's coming out in June. It's with my boy Nathan. Shout out to Nathan. And it's going to be published by Penguin Random House as well. And the story of Look Up is crazy. Like, Nathan and I have known each other for close to a decade. We worked together in 2010. And then in 2015, he approached me. We've been friends and we followed each other's kind of career paths. And Nathan is a very, very talented individual, screenwriter and an actor as well. He was on Benidorm recently, got given his props.
Okay.
Yeah. So he approached me in 2015, asked me to design his character. He gave me a brief description of what he wanted. And I went away, did my thing, gave her some life, based her on one of my nieces as well, because just get that energy right, And Nathan took it to his agent at the time, and she took it to the literary arm of their agency. And then they called me in. I sat down. At this point, I'd already just been doing my own thing on the art scene, just, getting on with it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we want to meet the artist. Met them, signed with them, still thinking to myself, I already know what this is all about. I've never had an agent before.
Yeah.
The closest I've got to it was like Jerry Maguire, where you see the thing and the agent's like, show me the money. Do you know what I mean? So that's the closest I've ever come to it. So she's gone off to this thing called the Bologna Book Festival.
Yeah.
And she's shown it to all the publishers. And she's come back and she's like, we had a few publishers that were interested. And me, I'm still there thinking, rotted, we got 1 or 2 interests. The thing went mad. It went absolutely crazy. We had about 14 publishers that were interested.
Yeah.
Of the 14, we had the top 10 publishers in the world interested, right? Then we walked away. We had one day when Nathan was in town and we had to go around London to, I thought we were going to be pitching to these publishers as to why they should take us. They were pitching to us as to why we should go with them. And it was the trippiest day of my life so far. I'm telling you, I went home, I faced the wall for 2 hours. I was thinking
Just
to myself,
digested it.
do you know what I mean? It was a lot to take on. So we ended up with 14 offers on the table, which is just insane for a picture book. First time, there's no history of success behind us. Do you know what I mean? We had 14 offers on the table. Then it ended up between Bloomsbury and Penguin, and they were going back and forth.
Two massive
publishers, and they were toasting us in ways I've never been toasted like that before in my life. Like, Bloomsbury bought us cupcakes, Lola's cupcakes, the good quality ones. Do you know what I mean? And Penguin was there naming stars after us. 2 of us were gassed. I'm not gonna lie, we were very, very gassed. And then everything sort of settled down. We end up going with Penguin, and then the work started. And then we had a round, I think this is 2017. So we got into 2018. I'm working, I'm getting myself ready. And in my head, I'm thinking, you know what? This is nice to have a book series, because we got a book series at the end of it. We've got 3 books coming. And I was like, this is nice. Wouldn't it be nice to sort of secure my role in this, because I'm about to go full time, by getting another book? Then the last day of summer got offered to me. And that was nuts as well. They found me on Insta, contacted me, bish bash bosh, got it done. And both books are really different. One of them, I believe, is a young adults book, preteen book, and the other one is a picture book. And they're very different, brilliant characters, well written as well. And I'm telling you, man, the kids are gonna love them when they drop.
Nice. So inspirational.
Thank you.
Visha's looking at you.
I'm just looking at you in awe.
That's what I was going to say. It's in awe.
Yeah, because
it's been a crazy couple of years. Seriously,
you've had a journey, but it's been a journey of triumph and triumph and triumph, triumph that you didn't even expect.
And
when people are approaching you and knocking on your door, that's success.
I'm trying to be humble with the thing, because
lay out.
When we hit March of last year, we had another round. So remember, we had 14 offers for Look Up. Okay. So that meant 13 people missed out. Right?
So the next thing you produced, they're like,
March,
yo, what's going on?
Everybody was hollering in.
Yeah.
Every day in March and April last year, my emails was going crazy. Real talk, my girl will tell you, I was sitting there looking at my emails, afraid to press the button because of what will come through next. Then, so now, where we are now, I've done my first 2 books. Hallelujah, because that weren't easy. To this year, I'm working on 5, and I'm working across 4 different publishers over the next 3 years. So Penguin, Macmillan, 2 publishers in America, HMH, who did the last days of summer, and a smaller publisher that's under Penguin called Nancy Paulson Books.
Okay.
And they've all reached out to me, which is an amazing thing, you know. And yeah, it's just been a crazy couple of years, man. Seriously, yeah.
Love it. I love this. I love the progress. You can say either way. I love the progress, brother. Honestly.
Thanks, man.
Look Up and The Last Day of Summer. Both the books are available on Amazon, I believe.
They're available for pre-order on Amazon.
Okay.
They're not going to be dropping until a little later this year, but it is worth getting in there and pre-ordering your copies. If you follow me on... Got to shout myself out.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, of course.
If you follow me on Twitter at @DapsDraws or Instagram, same tag @DapsDraws. I'm always posting about stuff that I'm up to, and I'm also always posting about the books and stuff that's coming around the books during their release dates and all the rest of it. So one's out in April. That's The Last Day of Summer. Brilliant book. And the second one is Look Up, my debut picture book, and that's out in June the 13th, I believe.
Nice. Looking forward to when these drop, sir.
A little bit apprehensive, if I'm going to be honest.
Why?
With you. And I say,
Tell me.
no, not in a bad way, because man's human, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I am looking forward to it because it's my first books dropping. Do you know what I mean? But I'm also like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Do you know what I mean?
I get that.
Like, so there's that little apprehension about what's coming next. Because me, I like to be prepared and I like to know what's around the corner.
No, of course.
But I'm learning that you can't really...
You can't force it. It will
can't
happen.
gauge that.
Yeah,
what's going to happen is going to happen.
You have to just wait. Like, when you get there, then you see.
Yeah, you have to ride it out.
Nice. It's The Scene, BBC Radio London. Got Dapo in the building. I've got Misha in the building. We're going to talk to them in just a little bit with about what they do. And also, I got some topics we're going to throw out there as well. You ready for some topics as well, guys?
I'm prepared.
Bring it on.
Good.
I've had my coffee, man.
You've had your coffee. You've woken up the right side of the bed this morning. You're ready for these topics. Nice. The Scene, BBC Radio London. Let's play some of this. Eminem.